Yes, hello and welcome back to our channel, my trader friends. For this video, we'll be having our introduction regarding the loops function of the Python programming. Without further ado, let's start our video tutorial. Okay, so introduction to loops. There are some instances that we need to execute a certain code several times. The number of times it must be executed depends in single condition. And so before that basic introduction, let's have this task first for you to appreciate the value and the importance of having a loops. So for our task, we should print the items on the list separately every single line. So for the list here, we have the list named lagging technical indicators. By the way, when we say lagging, these are the technical indicators in finance, in trading, which is the computations are based on the existing prices. So the prices moves first before the indicator. Anyway, if you are not into finance, if you are not into trading, you're just here watching this video to gain some knowledge regarding Python programming, still you can adapt on our examples. It just so happened that my examples is applied in the financial market. So if you are not into finance, if you are not into trading, you wanted to apply your Python programming knowledge that you will be acquired here on our series of video tutorial in other domains like game development, web dev, etc., etc. So still you can adapt in our tutorial. It just so happened that our examples is in finance. Okay, so let's start. Let's have our printing of the list every single line, each item. Okay, so please open now your Anaconda and click Jupyter Notebook for it to open, and let's start coding. Okay, so we are here on our Jupyter Notebook, but before we start, let's have first our title here, Introduction to Loops. Let's mark it down and run for it to be a title. Okay, so for our task, we should first build a list named lagging technical indicators. Okay, the contents or the items inside the list are, first we have this moving average. So let's use double quote instead, since we used to use double quote on our previous codings. So moving average, MACD, and Bollinger Bands. Okay, so let's print this first without printing the items every line, each line. So print, let's copy this and paste. Okay, so we have now our list, and now what we're going to print is each item every single line. So for it to be printed, we should write here the specific index number. So for example, index 0, what we will going to print is just the moving average, because the moving average is the index number 0. So for the next items inside our list, let's just have another print function here. So print 1, and this will be 2. So we don't have item number 3 since we only have 3 items inside our list, and that is actually index numbers 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so let's run this And we are done with our task. It is now printed, the moving average, separately with MACD and the Bollinger Bands. So we're done with the first task. So what is the relationship of this task into our introduction with the loops? Actually, on our next slide, it says here that yes, we have printed the items, but those items is only 3. What if there's 100 or more items inside a list? Sometimes it actually have thousands of items inside a list, and that is very tedious on our part. Copy pasting, every print function and changing the index numbers inside. That is very tedious, guys. And that is actually the reason why we need to use loops. That is the problem that is addressed by the loops function of the Python programming. So, what are these loops? What is a loops? So, meaning, the loops is actually used to repeat the execution of the codes until there's an instance for the loop to stop, just like what we have done on our codes before. We are repeating the print function, which is very tedious, just like what I have said a while ago. And to avoid that repeating printing function, we can actually use the loops until there is an instance for the loop to stop. Now, for the loops on our Python programming, there's actually 3 types of loops. The first type of loops is the for loops, while the second type of loop is the while loop. The third type of loops is the list comprehension loops. So since this is just an introduction, we will be having our in-depth analysis or in-depth tutorial regarding the for loops, the while loops, and the list comprehension loops. So on our next videos, we will be having our separate discussions regarding these 3 different types of loops, and of course, on those separate discussions, we will also be having there a separate coding of all these different types of loops, because actually a lot of programming of codes on our programming will be having these 3 different types of loops, especially in trading. Trading is a looping algorithm for me, which is our domain. Anyway, so I hope you understand and I hope you appreciate now the value of loops based on our very simple task that we have done on our previous slide. And this actually the ends of this introduction. I just introduced to you what is the loops, what is the value of loops, and what is the purpose of loops, of course. So I hope you are still here in our next video tutorial regarding our in-depth study of the 3 different types of loops. So again, my friends, this is the Engineer Trader, your partner from learning to earning. Don't forget to join our community. All of the links are in the video description below. And as always, my friends, may your trades be great. Bye-bye.